think I got a new betting strategy that I might roll out today, Sean.
No, what's that?
What I'm going to do is whatever my baseball play is, I'm going to cash it out at the bottom of the seventh because I'll be winning. I'm going to take the other side because I'm going to be up a lot of runs, right? So I'm going to get a huge plus line on the other team, and then the other team will score 6 or 7 runs in the top of the 8th or the bottom of the 9th and win. And I can go both ways because that seems to be the way I lose baseball games right and left nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, you could try that strategy. You know exactly what will happen as soon as you start trying that. They'll start holding the lead for you.
Well, that's kind of the plan, no?
Yeah.
I could take my entire bet out and then just bet maybe a third on the other side. So it's insurance. I mean, it's worth it, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely ways to do that. People are good at playing both sides and stuff and making money out of that. I've never been able to master that one.
I've been able to master though picking the team that's going to blow up a late lead though. That I've mastered. I think I've had to have lost 10 games like that this year in baseball, and I can remember winning, and I can't even remember it, but I'm just going to make it up because that way I might feel a little better about it. But I can't remember. Maybe I can remember one time I didn't have the lead, and I was way down, and my team came back to win. So a 1-to-10 ratio against you, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, at least it didn't start off in the NFL that way. You were 3-1 on the NFL, and your picks were solid. So,
well, I 4-1, Sean. You forgot about Thursday.
You
forgot about your Buccaneers pick.
I'm just I'm just talking about yesterday. Although I did win the argument, even though Cleveland didn't win the game, I won the argument with Cleveland. You take Cleveland with the spread
because you know what they say.
Take the Browns with the spread.
For sure. You talk about being. I don't want to take the credit by the grace of God. I'm an inquisitive person. So, and a lesson I learned a long time ago. If you ever read about Henry Ford, the guy who created the car. He didn't really know how to do the car. He just had the idea in his mind. So he assembled a bunch of different people, mechanics and electrical engineers, whatever. And they designed a car together, right? So he took all these different minds, put them together, and they made the car. One thing about the world is people who know how to do stuff don't know how to keep their mouth shut, right? They brag, if you will. So I go about searching the internet for people who say, who share their secrets, right? Because now 2021, everything is out there. You just have to go look for it. So if you have an ounce of initiative, maybe not even an ounce, because I probably don't even have an ounce. Maybe I have a half an ounce. I'm like a spoonful of initiative. In any case, I went out and I looked and I brought up that the old line maker and what he did over in Vegas to create his own odds. We talked about that last week. We put it over on Moneyline Madmen. And if you've checked that out, then last week on the first week of the NFL, through the first 15 games, if you had done what it said, and I make a couple of adjustments myself. For one, I don't include the home or away extra points that he does because I feel like that's already in the line. So you'll be double counting it, right? But if you did that last week, so far in week 1, 10 winners, 5 losers. So if you can win 2 out of 3 with a very basic system, it works. So why fight with it?
Yeah, I mean, if you can go 66% throughout the NFL year, you'll be raking in the money.
I don't think it's going to go 66%. An old friend of mine who, I'd like to talk to him again someday, maybe, but they kind of, anyway. He went through it, and it does. I think he put through like a bunch of years, and like 4 out of 5 years, it was profitable. So more often than not, it's a profitable way of doing things. And then, of course, if you have your own discretion. Right? You go through it and you find a couple of little angles or a little bit of tweaks or things that you have learned yourself through the years and you apply it. Maybe you can avoid some of the losers and focus on maybe 1 or 2 games a week that really meet what you're looking for and then bet on those. And the one game this week on the against the spread for me was only the Chargers against Washington, and that worked out well.
Yeah. They made me nervous a couple times. They were moving the ball up the field right and left, and they just kept turning the ball over. It was frustrating, but they pulled it out.
They did pull it up. Again, if you look at that sheet, head over to Moneyline Madmen. Their story's up in the left-hand corner. It says how to make your own NFL lines. Follow those instructions. Again, I don't use the part where he talks about the home field advantage because I feel like that's built into the Vegas line already. And a couple of other things that I do, certain differences that I'm looking for that I focus on. So tonight, Sean, It's got another chance to maybe go 11-5, 10-6. Either way, I'd be happy for the week. But we have Monday Night Football. The Ravens are going to take on the Raiders in the stadium that looks like some people compare it to Darth Vader. Other people compare it to like that, that remote control vacuum that goes, or a Roomba, and cleans up the room. So I like the Roomba comparison personally. If you look at a Roomba, it looks just like it.
Yeah, it does.
Have you seen one?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe I'll look at one. I'll look for one real quick, and then we'll bring it up on the screen. But Baltimore right now is between a 4 and a 3.5 point favorite on the road. Not a big fan of road favorites, but it worked out. Well, I mean, Chargers weren't a road favorite. They were a road underdog that won outright. So what do you think about the Baltimore Ravens and the Las Vegas Raiders?
So I'm going underdog here. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere. Baltimore lost Marcus Peters. They've lost all their running backs. Jackson can only run the ball so much, and I don't trust Jackson throwing the ball all over the yard. So I like the Raiders. The one concern I have is Josh Jacobs' health here. He is down with an illness yesterday, so there's kind of mum on his status. But they do have Kenyon Drake, who had a big year in Arizona. They signed him in the offseason, so he would be okay as a replacement as well. But I like the Raiders and the value here.
You like the Raiders, so you're going to take the Raiders. You're going to take 4 points, right?
I'm going to take the money line here. I think they win this.
You're going to win outright?
Yes.
So Sean's going to go crazy today, right away, right out the get-go. Let's see, money line on the Raiders. Making me a little bit nervous here, Sean. The money line, you can get plus 165 on the Raiders to win outright. And if you look at the way the game is laid out, let's go ahead and look at the money line, Sean. The Ravens are taking in 75% of the money line action. That's only up from 60% of the tickets. So the public, or the smart guys, so to speak, the wise guys, as they used to call them in the old days, those folks are heavily tilted towards the Ravens coming away with this win. So I wish you luck. Personally, I'm going to be on the other side of this thing. I'm going to take Baltimore. I don't know that their running game depends on the running backs whatsoever at all. And I don't know that Marcus Peters being out of the secondary is going to really make that big of a difference against Derek Carr. I know he's going to throw the ball to his tight end, Darren Waller, 5,000 times. And, make sure if you're doing a fantasy squad thing, you have Darren, you start it maybe, or put it in that flex where you get 1.5 points, because that's all he throws to is Darren Waller. And with or without the running back, I forget his name right now.
Josh Jacobs.
Jacobs. With or without him, I think they're going to struggle to run, because they can struggle. They can stop the run, Baltimore. So I feel like Baltimore's the better team. They're going to be motivated. You're right. Lamar Jackson can only run so many times, but if he takes 2 runs, 70 yards, that could be enough.
Yeah, I'm just on the other. This is going to be a crazy atmosphere. The Raiders keep getting better and better. Gruden's got them going in the right direction. Like I said, my one concern is if Jacobs don't play. But if Jacobs plays, combination of Jacobs, Waller on being the tight end, he's great. He'll light them up. And then Carr's just going to throw the ball as well to some of his receivers with Marcus Peters being out. So I think Baltimore's overrated going into the year, and I like this spot. I like the Raiders.
All right, you like the Raiders. So Sean's going the Raiders plus 165 money line. I'm going to take the Ravens. So Sean and I are on opposite sides of this spot. I'm only going to do $20 on the Baltimore team minus 3.5. I'll take the half a point in case they win by 4, and go ahead and take that at minus 108. So the total in this game, Sean, is 50 points. I know the straight suckers bet on Monday Night Football is to take the over, because everybody bets the favorite in the over. So I'm the square sucker so far tonight, halfway to the square sucker.
Yeah, see that line? I think that's a perfect 50 is about perfect. Not one I'm touching. I could see this game. I could see this game going either way.
I think the game goes over, Sean, but not by a big enough. I actually have them scoring about 57 points. So they're about a touchdown over that number. That's really close for me. But I'm going to hold back because I already have one bet tonight. I don't want to put 2 on one game and end up being wrong both ways. So I'll end up just passing. But if I were going to take it, I would go ahead and take the game to go over 50. I was planning on – I was 50-50 on which of the two sides I was going to take, but I just feel like that Baltimore is the better team. They got the the Harbaugh coach. They got the good Harbaugh coach, not the one in Michigan, and they're always a consistent squad. And I feel like the Raiders are going to have a really difficult time handling Lamar Jackson and what he brings to the table in terms of his ability to run the ball.
Yeah, like I said, if he runs it too much, he's going to take the wrong hit, and he's not going to make it very far. So,
yeah, I know they've been talking about him having having that problem all the time.
And the other problem is with the running backs here. I mean, we'll see what they have, but if they're not running the ball well with their running backs, you can put a spy on Jackson, and then they can neutralize that a little bit.
I think the kid that they have in there, Ty Williams, this could be a very good fantasy play for people tonight, but I feel like that kid's going to come in and do very well. He showed very well during the preseason, and that's preseason, of course. I get that. But at the same time, I would imagine that you're going to see that holdout to be that he'll perform as well in the game tonight as he had in the preseason. So real quick, just wanted to show you the Ravens stadium. There's one of those Roomba vacuums. It looks just like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, yes, it does.
So that's where the Raiders are going to play the Ravens tonight, inside a vacuum. All right, Sean. So let's talk about the only other sport in town tonight. That's Major League Baseball. You have one game going on right now. The Minnesota Twins are taking it to the New York Yankees. Probably not the best thing for the Yankees.
The Yankees aren't going to make the playoffs at this point. I mean, this is unbelievable how after they won 13 in a row, they just keep losing. Well,
that's that's the thing how it goes in baseball. Baseball's streaky, man.
Yeah,
teams get on a hot, and then they get cold, and then they get hot, and they get cold. I think the teams that do well are the teams that have like three guys playing well all the time. Maybe not the same three guys, but three guys in your lineup are hitting, so they're able to produce a couple runs. Or maybe four guys are performing at one time or another. So they go through their hot streaks and cold streaks separately, not together. And I feel like these teams that go on big win streaks and big losing streaks, their players kind of go on these streaks together. So, All right, well, let's talk about the baseball schedule for today. First game is, and the thing about these games today, they're except for like two, they're all 50-50 games for real. So I don't know quite what I want to do today in baseball. I have one thing I'm going to do, but I don't know I'm going to do anything else. Marlins and Nationals.
Yeah, it's just really a 50-50 game, and I don't trust either team. So this is exactly what you're saying here. I would lean the Nationals, but there is no play.
Well, the run line favors the Nationals for sure. I mean the run differential favors the Nationals. The home away power ranking favors the Nationals, but the pitching matchup I feel like favors
the Marlins. Yeah,
minus the pitching matchup. So just straight up, it's a 52-48 game, and at minus 105 for Washington, not accounting for the pitching matchup, you're paying exact odds. So I think they're probably they should probably be more like a plus 100 Washington with the better pitcher on the mound with Miami. So I'm going to pass on this spot too. Tampa Bay and Toronto. I mean, this game is another one. It's a 49-51 game that slightly favors Toronto, and Toronto's minus 105. So you're paying at minus 105. That's 51.22% implied probability. According to my simulator, they have a 51.22% chance to win. So, it's spot on odds, no value.
Yeah, so I actually see DraftKings, it's all the way up to minus 135 for Toronto. So,
I see, here the lines are moving. Yeah, earlier in the day it was minus 105. So, all right, well, so that line's moved aggressively towards Toronto. So that tells me that the betting public, the big money's coming in on the Toronto squad. But for me, I'm going to stay away from this game because it is a 50-50 game. If you're going to take any side, you'd have to probably take Tampa Bay. That would be the right bet. It might not be the winning bet, but the Rays are absolutely the right bet.
Yeah, I would lean Toronto here, but I'm nervous about it. I mean, their offense is absolutely cooking, but that was against the Orioles. So, you and I can get hits against the Orioles. It's like T-ball for pros. Yeah, so both pitchers going are solid. We'll see about how many runs are scored. I would lean Toronto, but didn't have a strong feeling either way.
Well, the majority of the money, over 60% of the money is on the Blue Jays. But like I said, the right bet is the Tampa Bay Rays tonight because it is truly a 50-50 game. Toronto does have some slight advantages in terms of run line differential, power rankings, but just from the straight up chances of winning, it's almost 50-50. You got to take the team with the plus line or avoid the game altogether. Just like the New York Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals, this is a 50-50 game too. You got the old man Rich Hill, who's pitched pretty well against the Cardinals, against old man Wainwright. So this is like the geriatric game of the night.
Yeah, and again, I don't trust either team. It's a 50-50 game. Mets at home. Mets have been playing really good, so I lean that way. But then I prefer Wainwright over Hill. So back and forth for me.
Looking at the numbers, about 70% of the tickets are on the Cardinals. So the public, so to speak, is backing the St. Louis squad, whereas the money, 2/3 of the money, is almost reversed, is on the Mets. So a lot of small-time players hitting up the Cardinals, and the big money's coming down hard on the Mets. I would be inclined to follow the big money in here. But it's a 50-50 game for real, Sean. I mean, when you look at the simulator in this spot too, I see that the Cardinals are projected to win about 48% of the time, the Mets 52% of the time. And again, the implied probability and the actual simulation says they're identical. So again, no value whatsoever in that side. So I'm going to pass there too. The Battle of Texas, the Astros versus the Texans. There is absolutely no 50-50 to this one, Sean.
No, and I'm going to take a negative run line here. Houston should kill them here with Rodasi versus Spencer Howard. I'll give up the 1.5, and I have minus 125. I'm sure you can find a little bit better than that, but
why wouldn't you just go minus 175?
Because I see minus 190 here.
Well, I can get minus 185. To me, I would rather go minus 185.
They're going to win this game by more than.
They're going to win this game by more than one run.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Sean's going to let me find that number for you, Sean. And that game is minus 1.5. You can get minus 123. I hope that run comes in for you. But for me, I agree with you. I feel like Houston's going to kill them. So I don't want to do a negative run line. So I'm going to make Houston a part of a 2-team parlay, which surprisingly to me ends up with a positive plus line. I couldn't believe it when I ran it, but I said, thank you very much. I booked it and moved on. The next game on the schedule is San Diego and San Francisco. This is a big game for both teams, really. San Diego is kind of reeling. The Giants have been playing well. So this game, according to the prognostication, again, 50-50.
Yeah, and the Giants are on a big-time winning streak. Padres have not played good in September at all. The pitching matchup even may favor the Giants here. Darvish hasn't pitched all that great. I'm actually shocked at this line, and this is my best bet of the night.
Oh, no, your best bet.
Yeah, so
you know what that means,
do
folks?
One or two things for that.
Run!
Although my football best bet did come in. My second best bet was horrible.
Run to the window. Whatever side Sean's going to tell you, take the other side. Get there as fast as you can. Get going.
It's the Giants for me. I can't believe this online. The Giants are the better team. The Giants are playing a lot better than the Padres right now. And like I said, I think they have the advantage in the pitching matchup here too. Darvish has not pitched all that great.
Well, you can get minus 104. So you can take the Giants in minus 104. The Giants do have a very strong edge in terms of how they play at home versus San Diego on the road. It's not even close. They do have an aggressive advantage as well in the run differential for sure. I agree with you there. Simulator says it's really 49.5 chance that the Padres have a chance to win and a 50.5% chance that the Giants are going to win this game. Both teams are negative lines. It is a 50-50 game. I would want one of them to be a plus line to play, but neither one of them is a plus line, so I'm not going to play it. What I am going to do is I'm going to take the Los Angeles Dodgers. Kershaw against Gallen. I feel like the Dodgers probably win this game. They're as much as minus 475 in some places. But if you put the Dodgers together, the LA Dodgers at about minus 300 with Houston, believe it or not, it came out to plus 103. So I was like, okay, fine, book it. I'm taking the Dodgers and the Houston in a big favorite parlay. I'm going to put 20 on that, Sean, for plus 103. Can you believe that that's positive? I couldn't even believe it was positive.
No, and I didn't even run the numbers yet on that, but I'm definitely playing that in my personal account too, because that's, people don't like playing the parlays, but something like that, like I feel better about something like that than I do any one of these plays just singly. So,
well, do you feel like the Dodgers are going to win?
Yeah.
So absolutely. If the Dodgers win, then it really comes down to, can Houston beat Texas?
And Houston should be able to beat Texas too. I mean, you got the pitching matchup, the better team, all of it. It all matches up. So,
and you get plus. I could not believe I got plus 103. So
yeah,
maybe it's a sucker's bet. I don't know, but I went ahead and booked it, Sean. So that's what I'm going to do there. And then finally, Boston and Seattle. If I say take Seattle, absolutely go the other way. If I say bet against Seattle, absolutely go the other way. So the best thing I can do is avoid it altogether, although it does look to me like this is another one of those games, but I do think Boston has a slight edge, maybe.
Yeah, this is one I want to go Boston, but we know how Seattle does at the underdog and at home, and I couldn't do it. I wanted to go Boston, but I couldn't do it. This is the one that's on the outside that I didn't bring in to make an official play.
Well, over 65% of the money did go Boston, so
and
I think that's the right side of the bet. For me, I got in my notebook now, like, don't bet Seattle. I've probably written it down like 10 times. So I think it takes 10 times for me to get to the point where I finally listen to my own advice, where the pain starts to hurt enough that I don't want to do it again. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a win. If it only takes you 10 times, you're pretty good, because it takes other people a lot longer. It takes me a lot longer than 10.
Well, for me, 10 is the number. Like that's where it becomes a pain point for me, where I've told myself 9 times already not to do something, and the 10th time is finally when I go, okay, dummy, that's enough.
Yeah, well, see, my holding point here is Eduardo Rodriguez. He's a guy, he's not had a good year, and when I've been against him, he does have a good game, and when I go with him, he's his normal self and gives up a ton of runs. So that was my hesitation and why I didn't make it an official play.
All right. Well, that wraps up the sports for today. Sean's going to go Moneyline Raiders. Rich is going to be on the other side of that. I'm actually going to lay points and take Baltimore. The line making system that we talked about last week, that is on Moneyline Madmen, is out there. It says that the Ravens cover this game easy. So I'm going to go ahead and take its word for it. It is 10-5 to start the week, and for week 1 in NFL. I think the game goes over. Sean is indifferent on the total. I'm not betting the total, because I don't want to be on both sides of one game and the night. If you're going to look at one of those fantasy lineups, I would definitely think about maybe putting the tight end from the Raiders, Wallen, in that spot where they get 1.5 points. If not him, a sneaky play where you might be able to put a lot more good. A lot more high-priced players is Ty Williams at running back. I think his last name is Williams or Williamson. He'll be the starting running back with every other running back in Baltimore unable to play. So he should be able to get some yards tonight. Of course, you probably want Lamar on there because he'll run and throw some as well. All right, Sean, that wraps up Monday. For folks that want to follow along, what do they do?
Facebook and Twitter, Moneyline Madmen. You got the website, moneylinemadman.com, and then subscribe to our YouTube channel too.
Yes, make sure you do that. And if you win, tell your friends about us, man, right? Let them know on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, however it is you communicate, because friends tell friends to fade Sean. Friends tell friends, okay, lock in Rich's baseball bets after 8 innings and go the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Until we meet up again in 23 and 30, Sean, everybody, may all of your tickets be winners.